The Indiana Fever are in a disastrous situation right now. They're in an absolutely disastrous situation.
Sophie Cunningham goes in the post-game press conference and confirms what we've all known all along.
We've kind of wavered a little bit on that. We have our own islands.
This locker room is split, and she uses the term different islands going on in this locker room.
The Indiana Fever were supposed to be on the rise. With Caitlin Clark at the center, this franchise had a once-in-a-generation opportunity to change its story, draw in national attention, and become a serious contender. But all that hope is crumbling fast. Just days ago, veteran Sophie Cunningham stepped in front of the press and said out loud what many fans had only suspected. The Fever locker room is fractured. We have our own islands, she admitted. In the world of sports, where team chemistry is everything, those 5 words landed like a bomb. Cunningham didn't dance around the issue. She didn't speak in vague platitudes. She openly confirmed that the Indiana Fever are divided, disconnected, and collapsing from the inside. And it's happening right in the middle of Caitlin Clark's rookie campaign. It's one thing for a team to lose games. It's another when the players themselves stop trusting each other. That's not a losing streak, that's a crisis. Caitlin Clark hasn't just been fighting opponents on the court. She's been fighting silence. The silence of teammates who won't step up when she's knocked down, the silence of a coaching staff that won't adjust a broken system, and the silence of an organization more concerned with image than with winning. Game after game, Clark gets hacked, shoved, elbowed, and hit with screens designed to rattle her. And every time, her teammates just stand there. No one confronts refs. No one sends a message. The body language is icy. When Clark sprawls on the floor, all fans see is an empty glance or a turn back. It's not just poor defense. It's symbolic of something deeper. She's not just isolated in gameplay. She's isolated emotionally. A generational star surrounded by people who either can't or won't have her back. That's not an accident. That's culture. Sophie Cunningham, to her credit, didn't sugarcoat anything. She owned up to the fractured dynamics and admitted the team had wavered. But even her honesty couldn't cover up the weight of what she was revealing. Sophie spoke like someone who's seen this storm brewing for months and finally gave up trying to shield anyone from it. She even took accountability, saying she needed to do more as a leader. But buried inside her words was a much louder truth. The system is broken. And that's not something one veteran player can fix alone. Even when the team was losing last season, there was some sense of unity. Players had each other's backs. This year, that's gone. When veterans like Sophie start dropping lines like, "We're on different islands," it's not just a casual comment. It's a red flag waving in front of the whole league. And you don't have to look far to see where the divide started. One of the most head-scratching moves in the offseason was the signing of veteran forward Dewana Bonner to a max contract. For a team focused on building a young, fast-paced offense around Clark, the move made no basketball sense. Bonner's presence didn't provide structure, it created friction. Insiders say she formed her own clique, isolating other players and disrupting chemistry. When Bonner was finally cut, it wasn't just about missed shots or aging legs. It was about damage control. Some even say she was the wedge dividing the locker room at a time when the team desperately needed unity. Then there's Natasha Howard, another veteran who, despite major minutes, brings more confusion than leadership. In a recent game, while Clark lay on the ground after a hard foul, Howard walked away to check on an opponent instead. That moment went viral for a reason. It wasn't just about one bad reaction, it was a perfect snapshot of everything wrong with this team. And then there's the system, or lack thereof. Stephanie White, the head coach, was handed the keys to one of the most dynamic rookies women's basketball has ever seen. And somehow, she decided to run an offense that looks like it belongs in the early 2000s. Slow-paced, rigid, and painfully predictable, the Fever's strategy has become the laughingstock of WNBA analysts. Multiple commentators have dubbed it puke ball, and it's not hard to see why. Instead of building around Clark's ability to move in space, create from the perimeter, and ignite fast breaks, the Fever keep her stuck at the top of the key, dribbling into nowhere. Even when the pick and roll with Aaliyah Boston works like magic, it gets tossed aside the next possession for a broken half-court play. The scheme isn't just ineffective, it's insulting to the kind of talent Clark brings. She was built for pace and space. What she got was a brick wall. The locker room itself has devolved into factions. Analysts have literally mapped it out. Caitlin, Lexi Hull, and Sophie on one side, Natasha, Sydney Colson, and others on another. And somewhere in between are players like Aaliyah Boston, stuck in the middle, unsure which direction to lean. One player reportedly just wants to play ball, avoiding the mess altogether. And behind the scenes, there are even whispers of something worse, suggestions that racial dynamics are quietly fueling the divide. Whether or not those claims are true, the fact that they're being discussed at all shows just how far the team has spiraled. When a locker room becomes divided by politics, personality, or pressure, the game suffers. And right now, the Fever are unraveling on every front. The front office doesn't escape blame either. Amber Cox and Kelly Krauskopf are taking heat online for what fans call a total lack of vision. Instead of scouting international talent or pairing Clark with shooters who complement her strengths, they chased PR wins and splashy headlines. While teams like the Liberty and Aces stacked their rosters with smart, balanced pieces, Indiana went all in on image over impact. And now it shows. The strategy wasn't about basketball, it was about buzz. But buzz doesn't win games. And Clark, the one asset actually producing on and off the court, is being left to drown in dysfunction. And yet, in spite of it all, Caitlin Clark continues to deliver. She's leading the league in assists, drawing record-breaking viewership, and maintaining her composure through relentless media pressure. Every time she steps on the court, she reminds the world why she's the most watched player in women's basketball. She's adapted her game, evolved her playmaking, and remained the one bright spot in a franchise otherwise sinking fast. Even with teammates falling short and management fumbling every decision, Clark hasn't lost her edge. But even stars get tired, and at some point, the emotional toll of carrying a broken team starts to show. Fans are already sounding the alarm. Many worry that if things don't turn around soon, Clark won't stay committed to a franchise that's failing her. And who could blame her? She signed on to help build something special. What she got was chaos. There's still time to fix it, to regroup, to rebuild, to rally around their star. But that window is closing fast. If the Fever don't act now, they're not just risking a few losses. They're risking the implosion of what could have been the most exciting era in WNBA history. Caitlin Clark deserves better. She didn't come to Indiana to babysit dysfunction. She came to compete. And unless the Fever start matching her commitment on the court, in the locker room, and from the front office, this story ends in heartbreak, not glory. This isn't just about a broken team. It's about a star who showed up ready to elevate the game, only to be dragged down by everything around her. The question now isn't whether Caitlin Clark will keep showing up. She will. The real question is, will anyone else?